Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are diving headfirst into Chapter 202, Uprising.
And for the first time in the series, Oda finally shows us one. Not a flashback, not a drawing, but a real, physical poneglyph.
Super. The entire secret history of the world is literally carved into these indestructible cubes, and we are standing right in front of one. The thing we've been hunting for, the central mystery of this entire story. If you're as invested in finding the truth of the Void Century as we are, make sure you're following Inherited Dawn. We're on this journey together, clue by clue.
And this chapter gives us our biggest clue yet. But it starts, as always, with Luffy.
On the brink of death. Again. And I mean, this is a new level of defeat. Crocodile just leaves him there, completely mummified by his Sable's ability. He basically says, don't worry, the bomb will put you out of your misery in 6 minutes. The disrespect is off the charts. It's one thing to beat your opponent. It's another thing to treat them like trash you're leaving for the garbage collector.
It's a complete dismissal. From Crocodile's perspective, the fight is over. He's won twice. Luffy is no longer a variable in his equation. He doesn't even see Luffy as a threat worth finishing off personally anymore. He's an annoyance that has been swatted. He's won, and now he's moving on to the real prize, the thing this entire long-term operation has been about.
But then, the most ridiculous, perfect, only in One Piece moment happens. The water Luffy shot into the air earlier in the fight, that giant glob of water he swallowed from the barrel and spit at Crocodile that seemed like a total Hail Mary, finally comes back down. It starts to rain right on top of him.
A private, life-saving rain shower. It's poetic in a way. The very thing Crocodile's powers stole from this country, water, is what foils him in this moment.
And he just pops back up. He rehydrates like one of those little dinosaur sponges you put in water. It's hilarious. It's brilliant. And it's so perfectly Luffy. That's the thing about Luffy's luck. It's not just luck. It's a consequence of his own actions, even the ones that seemed pointless at the time. He just refused to give up, kept trying anything, and that anything is what saved him.
It's a recurring theme with him, isn't it? In Logetown, a lightning bolt saves him from Buggy on the execution platform. His enemies would call it impossible luck. But Dragon was there. Was it luck, or was it something more? Here, the rain isn't some random act of God. It's the direct result of Luffy's own desperate, stubborn action.
Exactly. He made his own luck. He willed that water into the sky, and the world gave it back to him when he needed it most. He did the work, and the world paid him back.
It's almost as if the world itself bends to his will. It's a very specific kind of power beyond just his devil fruit. The will to live, manifesting as a literal rainstorm. We hear about the voice of all things, about inherited will. This feels like a small, tangible example of that grander concept. He imposes his will on the world, and sometimes the world responds.
And he's immediately back on his feet, chasing after Crocodile. No hesitation, no moment of, man, that was close. He just gets up and goes. The man has one gear, forward.
While Luffy is recovering, we go somewhere much, much older, deeper. Cobra is leading Miss All-Sunday down a hidden staircase. The art here is fantastic.
You feel the weight of centuries in the stone. Into the royal crypt, you can just feel the history in this place. The air has to be thick with it. Cobra knows what's down here, and he looks terrified of what he's about to show her. He's not walking with the confidence of a king. He's walking like a man approaching his own gallows.
This is the secret he and his ancestors have been tasked with protecting, and he's being forced to reveal it to the very person who orchestrated his country's downfall. The look on his face is one of profound failure and dread. He then asks her a question he already seems to know the answer to. Can you decipher the text on the poneglyphs?
And she just says yes, so calmly, one word, no boasting, no explanation, just a simple, devastating fact. That's it. That's the whole reason Crocodile has kept her around. It's not about her devil fruit, which is incredibly powerful. It's not about her skills as an assassin or her intelligence as vice president of Baroque Works. It's because she is the key.
She is the only person we know of in the entire world, besides the scholars of O'Hara, who are all wiped out, who can read the language of the lost history. This makes her arguably one of the most dangerous people alive to the world government. Not because she can snap a man's spine from 100 meters away, but because she can read a rock. Knowledge is the most dangerous weapon of all.
And what does she immediately ask about? Pluton, an ancient weapon. We've heard that name whispered before, but here it is, stated plainly. She thinks the Poneglyph will tell her where to find it, the ultimate bargaining chip, the ultimate destructive power.
Cobra doesn't know. He says the duty of the Nefertari family for generations has simply been to protect this stone. Not to read it, not to use its knowledge, but to guard it. This is a sacred duty passed down through blood.
Think about that. For centuries, his family has protected a secret they couldn't even understand just because they knew it was that important. They are guardians of a locked box, and they don't even have the key. All they have is the promise their ancestors made 800 years ago. That's a heavy legacy.
It also implies something deeply significant. If the Nefertari family were one of the 20 kingdoms that founded the world government, why were they tasked with protecting a poneglyph, an object the government wants to erase from existence? The destruction of O'Hara proves the lengths they will go to keep this knowledge buried.
Whoa, okay, that's a good point. I hadn't really connected those dots. The world government was founded by 20 kings. The Nefertari family was one of them, but the world government hates poneglyphs. So why would their buddies be holding on to one? Why would they be the exception?
It suggests the Nefertari family's role in the formation of the government was complicated. Perhaps they didn't fully align with the others. There's a sense that they chose to remain here with their people, which may have set them apart from the other founding kingdoms.
So they were like, okay, we'll help form this new world order, but on one condition. We protect this piece of the real history. That would make them traitors in the eyes of the other founding families, at least in spirit. Man, that adds so many layers to Cobra's character.
It frames their duty not as one of loyalty to the world government, but as one of loyalty to history itself. And then they find it. A massive, dark cube covered in text that no one has been able to read for 800 years. The first poneglyph we see in the present day. It just gives you chills. The way it's revealed from the darkness is perfect.
It looks ancient and powerful. You can almost hear it humming. And for Miss All Sunday, this is it. This is the moment her entire life has been building towards since she was a little girl on O'Hara. You can't even imagine what must be going through her head.
The silence in that room must have been deafening. The weight of all that history right there. For her, it's the voice of her mother, of Professor Clover, of everyone she lost. It's vindication.
Meanwhile, back on the surface, it's the exact opposite of silent. The rest of the crew is in total chaos mode, trying to find this bomb. The clock is ticking. 5 minutes left. The entire city is about to be wiped off the map.
And we get a classic Usopp moment, which provides a much-needed bit of levity in this incredibly tense situation.
He's posing, doing this whole villain monologue, trying to get into Crocodile's head to figure out where he'd hide a cannon. Haha, where would I, the evil Mr. Crocodile, hide my bomb? And Zoro just walks up and smacks him on the head. It's the perfect dynamic. Usopp's creativity versus Zoro's blunt pragmatism.
Zoro's just like, shut up and look. It's his entire philosophy boiled down to 4 words. Action over thought. But Usopp has a point in his own way. You have to understand your enemy. He's just going about it a little theatrically.
It's his process. He's a performer. Sometimes you gotta get into character to solve the problem. Zoro just wants to cut the problem in half. Both valid approaches, I guess. Then you have Nami trying to get Chopper to sniff out the bomb, which is a great idea in theory, except the whole city smells like gunpowder from the Civil War.
It shows their desperation. They're throwing everything at the wall. Nami, ever the navigator, is thinking about abstract concepts. She asks him to sniff for the scent of a bomb that specifically wants to destroy the central square. She's personifying the bomb.
And Chopper is just like, what does that even smell like? Bless his heart. He's trying so hard, but that's not how noses work. He's a doctor of medicine, not a bomb-sniffing reindeer detective. You can feel the panic setting in for all of them. They're running out of time and ideas.
But then we get to Sanji, And this is why you need a strategist in the crew. This is where he truly shines.
Mr. Prince comes through again. He's not just running around blindly like everyone else. He stops, lights a cigarette, and thinks. The bomb has a 5-kilometer blast radius. He realizes a weapon that destructive, likely an old-fashioned cannon, would have terrible accuracy from a long distance.
It's a moment of pure logic in the midst of chaos. Everyone else is reacting emotionally. Sanji takes a breath and analyzes the facts. To guarantee it hits the palace square, the cannon has to be close, very close. You don't fire a shotgun from a mile away and expect to hit a bullseye.
It's such a simple, brilliant piece of deduction. It narrows the search area from the entire city to a few specific locations. And once he has his theory, he doesn't waste time running around buildings. He just starts kicking his way through them in a straight line towards the most likely spot. That is pure Sanji. Efficiency and flair all at once. He's got the brains and the brawn to back it up.
It's the first real lead any of them have. Everyone else is panicking, but Sanji is problem-solving. It's a fantastic character moment that highlights his unique role in the crew. He's the cook, he's a fighter, but he's also the tactician.
Exactly. And while all this is happening, Luffy finally catches up to Shigi. Not Crocodile, not a Baroque works agent, but a beaten-down Marine.
And she is a wreck. Beaten, on the ground, her glasses cracked, completely demoralized after her fight with Miss All Sunday. She was utterly defeated, not just in combat, but in spirit.
Luffy just barrels up to her and asks where Crocodile went. He doesn't have time for anything else. He's in full-on mission mode. But for Tashigi, this is a moment of deep personal crisis. This is the pirate she has been chasing, asking for her help.
We get a flashback to Crocodile standing over her after she was defeated, and he just twists the knife. It's a verbal coup de grace. He tells her the weak have no right to talk about justice.
Go run back to headquarters and debate your precious justice there. That line is so cutting because it strikes at the core of who she is. Her entire identity is built on being a swordswoman for the Marines, an agent of their absolute justice. And Crocodile is telling her it's all a meaningless game for the weak, a debating club for children.
He's not just beating her physically, he's trying to shatter her ideology. He's presenting his worldview that might makes right, that power is the only true justice, as the only truth. And because he's so effortlessly defeated her, she has no immediate counterargument. His strength gives his words a terrible weight.
And it's working. She hesitates. Helping a pirate goes against everything she stands for. It's a violation of her code. But letting Crocodile, this man who embodies a perversion of power and uses his government-sanctioned title as a shield for his evil, get away with it? That's worse. Her programming is fighting against her conscience.
So she does it. She points the way. She helps the pirate. It's a small gesture, just lifting a finger, but for her, it's a monumental act of rebellion against her own beliefs.
It's a huge moment for her. She chooses the lesser of two evils, and she hates herself for it. She just starts banging her head on the ground, sobbing that her ideals, Marine HQ, it's all a joke. This is the moment her black and white view of the world shatters into a million shades of gray. She has been forced to concede that justice is not as simple as Marines good, pirates bad.
She's realizing that justice isn't a simple concept you can uphold by following orders. The man who represents evil is trying to save a country, and the man operating under a government title is trying to destroy it. Her entire framework for the world is collapsing. This is a crucial step in her journey, and smokers as well. They are the Marines who are starting to see the truth.
It's powerful stuff. The villains in this story aren't just evil. They make them challenge the very foundations of the world's heroes. And Luffy, of course, just takes the info and runs. He doesn't have time to process her existential crisis. He has a warlord to punch. It's kind of funny in a dark way. She's having this life-altering epiphany, and Luffy's just like, thanks, bye.
But he doesn't get far. The narrative whiplash here is severe.
No, the adrenaline wears off. The water he drank only fixed the dehydration from Crocodile's sables. It didn't fix the hole Crocodile punched through him with his hook. It didn't cure the scorpion poison. It didn't heal any of the other accumulated damage from two brutal fights. He just collapses.
He ate all that meat from Pell, he got the life-saving water, he had the unbreakable will to keep going. but the body has its limits, even Luffy's rubber body. This is a crucial reality check from the author. Willpower can push you past your limits, but it can't erase them entirely. The physical cost is real.
He just lies there unconscious. All that momentum from his miraculous revival, gone in an instant. It's brutal. You think he's back in the fight, the hero is on his way, and then the story just pulls the rug out from under you. The hope is extinguished as quickly as it was lit.
And at that exact moment, we cut back to the crypt. Crocodile arrives, he sees the Poneglyph, he sees Miss All-Sunday standing before it. He has reached his goal. The plan he has spent years meticulously executing has come to fruition.
The contrast is devastating. As the hero fails, the villain succeeds. And the final shot of the chapter, the clock on the bomb in the town square. 4 minutes remaining.
Luffy is down, the crew is scattered and searching blindly except for Sanji, who is still just one man, and Crocodile is about to get his hands on the secrets of an ancient weapon that can destroy islands.
It's what this series does best. It builds the tension on multiple fronts until you feel like you can't breathe. Every single plotline is at a breaking point all at once. The personal struggle, the race against time, the grand historical mystery, it's all converging. Super. This is peak storytelling.
It's an absolute masterclass in pacing. You feel the 4 minutes ticking down in real time. Each panel feels like a second lost.
I have so many thoughts on what's coming next. This is going to be a tough one to predict.
Before we get into it, if you have a theory about what's actually written on that Poneglyph in Arabasta, leave it for us in the comments. We love seeing what clues you've all picked up on.
Okay, my predictions. First, someone finds Luffy. He can't stay down for long. My money's on Chopper. He's the doctor, and he might be able to track Luffy's scent now that he's away from the gunpowder-filled square. He'll get him patched up just enough for one more round.
A reasonable thought. His medical expertise is desperately needed.
Second prediction. Sanji finds the bomb. He has to. He's the only one with a real plan. Zoro will be cutting up buildings, Usopp will be doing something, but Sanji's logic is what's going to save the city. He'll find the cannon, but there'll be a Baroque Works agent guarding it, probably one of the higher-ups we haven't seen in a bit.
A final mini-boss before the real boss. I can see that.
And my third prediction, a big one. The second Miss All-Sunday translates that Poneglyph for Crocodile, he's going to try to kill her. He said it himself. He doesn't trust anyone. Her purpose will have been served. He's not the kind of guy who leaves loose ends, especially not one who can read the language of the ancient weapons. Her life is in more danger now than it has ever been.
That feels inevitable. His partnerships are purely transactional. Once the transaction is complete, so is the partner. Okay, my turn.
Let's hear it.
My first prediction concerns the Poneglyph itself. It won't just contain the location of Pluton. That's what Crocodile wants, but that's too simple. The Poneglyphs tell the true history. It will also contain the story of Arabasta's role during the Void Century, and the real reason the Nefertari family chose to stay and protect it. Perhaps why they seem so different from the other founding kingdoms.
So it's a history lesson and a treasure map. I like that. That's way more interesting.
Exactly. My second prediction is about Pell. He's been tasked with finding the bomb from the air, but he can't see it. He is the guardian deity of Arabasta. I believe he is going to make a huge sacrificial play. If the crew can't stop the cannon from firing, Pell will be the one to intercept the cannonball itself, carrying it high into the sky where it can detonate harmlessly.
Bro, that would be an insane moment of sacrifice. He's a Zoan user, a falcon. He could do it. That would be legendary.
It would fulfill his duty as the kingdom's protector in the most absolute way possible. And for my final prediction, I don't think we're done with Tashigi. Her worldview has been shattered. She won't just stay on the ground. She's gonna get up and follow Luffy, not to help him, but to see this through for herself. She needs to know what true justice is, and she's realized she won't find the answer in a marine textbook. She's going to see what choice Luffy makes and what Crocodile's ultimate end is, to forge her own path forward.
A marine witnessing the truth. That could have massive implications down the line. What a chapter. The stakes just keep getting higher.